welcome to the brand new episode of Tell Me About It. I basically began this show to spread awareness around coaching. What I do feel is it requires a lot of courage to put your skills out there at the same time to show up to be coached, right? And there are a lot of questions and a lot of speculations around what coaching is not. And I feel these episodes are a very clear way to just show what is it that we do. Yes. So tell me about it came out of that. And today I am very proud to have Dr. Urvi Jangam with me. She was so spontaneous. I met her in the ICF Mumbai chapter, and I'm so glad that I went to this particular meeting because had I not, I would have never met Urvi. So it was a huge pleasure, and I was awestruck. When I saw her, I was in awe of the way she navigates herself, right? And that is something with so much panache she is carrying herself. And then the more I got to know her, the more I kept going, wow, wow. All right, so that wow I'm going to bring here today. And she's spontaneous. All I had to tell her, I believe me, when I ask people to show up for coaching, what happens is that they say yes, and at the last minute, there's like, no, we can't do it. We don't want to do it. And I respect that. But then I have heard so many no's more than yes. And my relationship with Urvi is just around, let's say, 1 week old, and here we are doing this session together. So I'm so thankful to Urvi for that spontaneity, and I admire that in people. I also have a space called Gateway to Growth for all those people who want to work on their personal growth. I will be sharing the link in the YouTube description below. Please, the membership is free, so please feel free to connect with me there. There will be access, there will be challenges, there are a lot of audios and videos for you to kind of take bit-sized pieces and work on your growth. So that's a lot about me. We are going to now ask Dr. Urvi Jangam to come and share something about herself. All right. What I would at least want to start with that coaching requires courage. I'm going to repeat this. Coach and the coachee both partner to create insights and awareness. And here we are going to have a lovely 1 hour doing just that. So without further ado, Dr. Urvi Jangam, please honor us. Tell us something about yourself.
Hello, Sonal. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Good.
It's such a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be a part of my first live coaching demo and with a coach who is so understanding and whom I personally feel comfortable with. So, thank you, Sonal, for this opportunity at the outset. And yeah, well, I am an emerging coach, so I'm really excited to, commence this journey. I did that around 6 months ago as I started my coach training with Symbiosis Coaching USA. And so, being a language professional, I've completed my PhD in German studies. I am the first visually impaired woman in India um, to have entered the space of German as a foreign language. And I guess now it's coaching. So I love to explore, not only explore different realms, but I actually love to master things that I do in the sense that not in terms of I know everything, but in terms of being a lifelong learner. That's my life goal. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to being a lifelong learner in the space of coaching. So
Wow.
as an awareness coach, thank you. As an awareness coach, I'm trying to seek practical application for my research for my newly developed concept of adrishya rasa, which is can be translated as non-visual aesthetic pleasure or non-visual aesthetic essence.
Okay.
So that is what my coaching approach entails.
Okay.
And I'm preparing currently for my ACC accreditation.
Wow. So I'll begin with wishing you good luck for your ACC preparation. Believe me, it's a wonderful journey. Yes, lots of learning as you do peer coaching and all that. Amazing doors open for you, right? And I'm so wowed. Again, as I say, I have been only saying the word wow since I have met you. Yes. to be able to do this. I understand that language learning, yeah, I believe the language is a weapon as well as it's, how do you say, a tool to be able to connect with more and more people. So all the best in everything that you do. I also have a very different question than what you have been speaking about. Like, I want to
Mhm.
know from you, what are your observations about the human beings that you encounter? I'm pretty curious about that part.
Thank you for that question. That's unique indeed. And that really coincides with also my research practice because I have looked at how interpersonal interactions sculpt human relationships, and not just relationships, but also aesthetic experiences. So I could say that I have been lucky enough to come across really wonderful humans, even complete strangers for that matter. And the most recent example was meeting the coach who's going to coach me now in a while.
Okay. Oh my God. Thank you
So
so much. Yeah.
it's amazing to meet humans who actually go to great lengths to not just empathize with you, that's just to begin with, but also to describe what, not just to describe the surroundings, but actually activate my imagination. And uh, they help me create pictures, um, and also help me thereby pursue more um, in depth and broadly than I can alone. So that's an indispensable part of my life, meeting like really great fellow humans. And that can be anyone, mind you. It was, I mean, right from a professor or a doctor to a professional who is highly qualified to someone who could be, um, offering their services for helping us keep our surroundings clean. So
Wow.
it can be of any from any domain and any strata of the society, but
Hmm.
humans are really wonderful. Okay, barring a few exceptions, some of them, we always have highs and lows, and we always have diversity even in those in that context, so to say. So I have no complaints. I'm only grateful to my fellow humans and all over the world. I mean, at least the parts of the world that I have been to. I've been in Germany for 6 years. I was there as a DAAD research scholar. So that was an amazing experience. It's a completely different worldview of disability and how one actually enables a person with visual impairment to navigate and sustain this in their surroundings. And also in the United States, where I was in California and San Francisco, again, that's a different set of experiences, positive ones, of course. And then coming back to India, it's a mixed bag of experiences that one encounters. Like everything else, um, yeah, the diversity displays even here.
So, world is a better place, Urvi, because you are there in it. Is how I'm seeing it in this particular moment. Okay, because I see a lovely lens. You witness so much. You've experienced people in different areas, and you come back with this. That I have learned so much. So that love for learning seems to be a key strength. Is how I'm seeing it. Okay, so segueing into that, how did coaching happen? You've been a German language learner. You said I went for learning and research there. So from there, how did coaching happen?
So I currently work with Capgemini as a German language analyst. And there, back in 2022, we had our first live coaching session, a group coaching session to be precise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I was introduced to coaching as a profession. And I was so enthralled by it that I thought, yes, this is the path I'm going to take next.
Okay. So if we're looking at it, and that's so true that if this is the path, because I understand that what we coaches bring on the table, and sometimes it really, as I said, we create insights and awareness. Yeah, so and you are a person who brings that bundle, that lot of love for learning, lot of wide perspective. So coaching would be really enriched because, as I said, you are there. So tell me today, Urvi, what is it that you seek from coaching?
Hmm. So today I would like to delve into an aspect which is really nagging me for a while, and I've been reflecting it since a couple of weeks now. So I
Mm.
want to talk about my hesitance in networking and to examine and analyze how and why does that occur.
Okay, so tell me a little more about it. You're saying I few weeks this thought has been on your mind around networking.
Hmm.
Tell me more about it.
So basically, even as an extrovert, because I love meeting people, I love to interact with complete strangers, as I said earlier. And even, I mean, despite that, when it comes to networking for professional purposes, um,
Mm.
I I see myself going on the back foot.
Okay.
And not because I don't believe on myself, because otherwise I wouldn't be here today.
Mhm.
But it's just that I can sense that kind of hesitance, that restraint that pulls me back, which says, "Hey, wait, do you really have to go there?"
So there is a voice within you that is like, do we have to network? Is that how it is going?
Yeah.
Okay. So if this resistance voice is there within you, all right, and that's what you seek coaching for. In the time that we have, Urvi, what would be a very useful session for you today?
So I would actually love to dive deeper into this and at least try to come up with one key step that I could take to maneuver my way out of this.
Mhm.
Um, I would like to walk away with at least one strategy that I could um, implement, so to say. I mean, obviously, it's not a magically wand.
Mhm.
I am not in the Harry Potter space,
Okay.
so I wish I would be.
All right.
So no, being a huge Potterhead, that was just side thought. So I wish to actually walk away with a strategy that would help me to begin my journey towards
Mhm.
networking, because that is what I would want to do differently within the coaching space,
Mhm.
unlike my previous experiences.
Okay. So in this moment, what makes it important for you to work in this area of networking?
Well, to start with, um, a very fresh, recent example would be that I was pondering over whether I should attend the event that happened last week in Mumbai, the event where we met. And I was pretty much torn between, well, whether I should approach the authorities to ask whether I could attend. And then I was like, let it be. I don't know. I don't even know anyone there. I'm not even a member for now. What am I going to do? And that
Mm-hmm.
just kept me back. I'm so glad that the concerned authorities actually got in touch and they were actually so forthcoming to let me come for the event, and I was invited and sponsored.
All right. So that event has made you thinking that
Yeah,
this.
that was like a reflecting trigger, which said, "Hey, you need to look at this."
Okay. So let's look at this. You spoke about two voices. There was this one voice that said, why go? I don't know anybody. I'm not even a member there. All right. What is
Hmm.
this voice telling you more?
Mm, I guess it is about professionally the feeling that would I be. Um, I mean, I'm a perfectionist. Okay, so unless something is like 100% perfect and like till the edges are all glossy and smooth, and it's a finished product. I don't set it out there in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that was also the case with my research, with my doctoral study, which I published in 2022. So, like that, with every situation, I have to have this extreme perfect approach. So, um, if I don't have relevant content to offer, or whether that content is refined and presentable enough to offer, I
Mm-hmm.
won't go and approach relevant professionals or field experts. And that's what gets me in the procrastination mode. That's what sets me at the back foot.
Hmm. So I heard two words. One is perfection. Right?
Mm,
Until I don't attain this perfect standard, I procrastinate.
yeah, that could be
Yeah.
the eternity.
Yeah. So how is this perfection serving you in this moment? It has served you up until now, is what I'm hearing. That till the edges
Yeah,
are not clean, right? So
yeah.
let's look at. Uh, do we have the permission to kind of look at perfection right now that you have?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, so if it were this perfection were a human figure, all right, and it were to speak to you, what would it say?
Thank you for that one. So I'm actually imagining one of my favorite dolls. It was
Mm-hmm.
a gift from a very close friend in Germany, and she had hand knitted it herself for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very special gift. And
Mm-hmm.
now, as I sit here brooding over perfection and imagining it taking a human form, I am
Mm-hmm.
envisioning this doll with exactly with the color of hair that I have. It would
Mm-hmm.
be like that, and with black sneakers, which I generally wear. So this doll at the moment is just standing in front of me and trying to tell me, well, that I should be slightly less hard on her,
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
and that it cannot be the same every day. It's dynamic, it's varying
mm,
every moment.
right. What made it come here, Urvi? What brought it here?
I guess that's the journey within, uh,
Mm-hmm.
which is trying to send the signal that I need to stop being not exactly seeking perfection, but seeking perfection to such an extent that it would actually throttle all my attempts to put things out there in the world and experiment and be creative and actually grow.
Mm.
And that's what I love about coaching. It was the same with the language itself, especially a foreign language where you dive into a completely new world, and in a new world, a door opens to you, so to say.
So it looks as if you picked up some insights here, right?
Hmm.
As you were talking to the doll.
Right.
Yeah. And if now, if we have to look at this doll, okay, this doll also has another companion called procrastination. Yes,
Right.
we two are together, sitting together.
Yeah.
All right. And already a part of you is cognizant of the fact that how is it, like you use
Mm.
the word throttle, throttling my progress.
Yep.
Yeah. So if I have to ask you, these two dolls are there with you, and you talked about Harry Potter's world, so let's bring that magical world here, okay? And
Right.
let's say this doll is, how do you say, running around in chaos.
Mm.
And if you are having a wand, what would you want to do?
Just gently, very gently, with a feather touch, let it um, calm down and just sit at one spot
Mm-hmm.
and relax.
All right, relax. You're telling both the dolls relax?
Hmm.
Okay. And since we brought Harry Potter in, may I ask you to create a small little mantra for them? Each time they kind of start raising their voice, what would be the mantra for them?
Oh dear, this is getting interesting.
Yes.
So, I would just say relaxio. That's the most spontaneous thing that is coming to my mind.
Okay, relax here. All right. So Urvi said, yeah,
Right.
Urvi said relax, and both the dolls have kind of settled down. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
perfection has been understood a bit, procrastination has been asked to move out of the way. And now, how is Urvi feeling about networking?
So honestly, the procrastination part, that's taken the shape of the character Stitch in the Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still sitting there with his big grin,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
that mischievous one, and it's still lurking around there and saying, "Hey, but I can just, grab it and be back."
Okay. All right. So who is in charge here?
Well, Stitch is just lurking in the background, but I'm still
Mhm.
in charge. So let me check. So I feel that I would need to actually pay a little more attention to this voice of procrastination that comes up
Mm-hmm.
every time, which actually goes hand in hand with my perfectionist tendencies.
Hmm. Right.
And that is what actually stops me from reaching out to potential mentors or collaborators or even allies, peers.
Hmm. Okay. So it stops you from reaching out. All right.
Hmm.
So is there anybody else along with there is perfection doll, right? There is a procrastination uh, character. Is there anybody else also in the room? Like you said, it stops me from reaching out to my peers. So what does it mean for you to kind of reach out?
So for me, reaching out to a person actually means building a meaningful connection, irrespective of how long it lasts, irrespective of
Hmm.
how fleeting it is. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's not just a means to an end where I get my work done, you have your end outcome, and then adieu. No, that's not for me.
Hmm. Right. So you're not looking for how do you say outcome based connections.
Mm,
Yes, you're looking for more deeper connection, which are like almost in the sense of just valuing you for you.
right,
Right. So like earlier, I asked a question. We had one doll as perfection doll. We had one character
right.
procrastination. What else is there in the room that is affecting this process?
No, I think for now it's just these two, the predominant figures,
Hmm.
sculpting the past.
Okay, so I heard this also very important theme that I don't want to make connection for the sake of achieving something. I want them just for connection. Can you tell me a little more there?
So, well, even when I connect to, let's say, if I send a connection to a field expert in coaching, I won't send it just because they are a top voice in the field.
Mm-hmm.
I would only do that. I feel that there's this, even if it's an invisible connect, it doesn't have to be always a one-to-one direct connect. But
Mm-hmm.
even as they speak or as they coach, the space that they create, their voice,
Mm-hmm.
that really is phenomenal for me. So their voice, for instance, yeah, I mean, how does the person sound? What kind of presence do they bring with them?
Mm-hmm.
And how do they actually interact with their coaches? Just to give this example, bring in this example as we're talking about it. So
Mhm.
that's my commencement point, and then that's how I actually end up sending a LinkedIn request or whatever the medium of connection, an email, for instance. Yeah, and that's how it starts. The problem, however, occurs, or it starts getting slightly tricky
Mhm.
when I am supposed to reach out to someone for, let's say, I want to start a podcast,
Mhm.
and I've actually enlisted a few. I procrastinated like for 6 months over the ideas because I follow a few podcasts which are really conducted by master coaches and who have like more than 20 years experience in the field. And when I listen to those and then I think of jumping in there into the playing field, I'm like, well.
Mhm.
So what then stops me is this um, thought that is that is that perfect? Is that enough?
Okay. So, what do you need, Urvi, to make this enough?
Hmm. That's slightly complex, since um, my whole thought process is being greatly influenced by the German culture. So the whole perfection and punctuality. I mean, just to bring up a few things,
Mhm.
of things being precise and exact. I think I've been so used to that mold, uh, to those patterns now that things deviating even slightly
Mm.
uh, get me into a mode of complete discard, rejection and discarding the um, concept that I would have been working on,
Mm.
and then just not getting it out in the world.
All right. So as we see, like this is how it starts. You have an idea, then you want to kind of put it out, but any deviation that you perceive suddenly puts you on a back foot.
Absolutely.
Am I taking that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
precisely.
So only in that space, may I ask, what would support you in making a slight deviation or slight room for these deviations to come in?
I think as we speak, I realize that I set extremely high standards for myself. And then if I don't meet them, it's like make or break. And then it
Mhm.
inevitably just breaks.
Hmm. So you're already noticing the impact your own expectations are having on your project.
Mm, yeah, so I think I just need to, well, let the coaching mindset enter even my projects, the process of conceiving and completing my projects.
Okay. So, Urvi, are you willing to do one small little, how do you say, guided visual journey with me? It will be
Yes,
1 minute.
please. Yes, please.
Yes. So, I'm going to take you into a little different world.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I'm going to say certain things. I want you to see what impact it has on you. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, uh, take a deep breath. Completely settle down in your body. Feel the support of the chair. See yourself sitting there with your laptop, with your mobile, and with yourself. And suddenly you have this crazy idea. We are judging it, but yeah, it's an idea, it's a little ambitious idea, let's put it. And then when you think about this idea, your mind starts becoming extremely active with this can be done, this can be done, this can be done. Yeah? And after the fifth, this can be done. A sixth sentence, another voice walks in. Oh no, this is not proper, or this can go wrong, or this will not happen properly. Oh no, you still need to work on it. Who are you to even think of all this? Why must you think like this? Why would they pay attention to me? As all these voices are vying for attention. And if you take attention as a torch, and let's say you choose to take this attention torch and put it on the voice that says, let's do it, and we'll see how things go. If they go my way, wonderful. If not, it's okay. Now see the impact of this attitude. What would you do if you had this attitude? It's okay. I'll go ahead, put my idea bomb where it lands, and see how it lands. And you're going to tell those boys, you're there. Thank you so much for letting me know, cautioning me. I value your input too. But just because I want to live fully, I'm going to go ahead and give this a go. If it doesn't work out, I will rethink it. But I want to give it a go. Come back in front of your laptop now. What do you see yourself doing? Let's just leave it open. And slowly come back.
Thank you. That was really insightful and relieving at the same time.
Okay. Just take me through what happened.
So I just closed my eyes, and I was just hearing your voice guiding me through the visualization. That was again the idea, which just um, materialized. It was a book, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then the um, doll, the perfectionist doll was just there, present, but this time really calm. And then the procrastinating Stitch came in, and he's like, "Oh, why are you doing this?"
Hmm. Okay.
So I think that just um, made it pretty clear that that whole tug of war that happens between the confidence that I nurture, and of course the self doubt that creeps in.
Hmm.
So, and this powerful flashlight that you were talking about that took a
Mm-hmm.
form of a torch and which actually cut through the fog of this getting lost and self doubt, and at times just getting pulled into it, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, getting in this whole complete spiral of negativity, a downward spiral. So that really was something that I could stop. I could pause basically,
Mm-hmm.
and then just tell myself, hey, I do have the permission to look at it differently. I can have the permission to look at it differently.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always have to be a grand success.
Mm. Can you repeat that sentence? It was a very powerful sentence I heard. It doesn't always have to be.
It doesn't always have to be a grand success.
It doesn't always have to be grand success. So there's a hidden expectation. Can you read that expectation for me?
Mm, yeah, I think it also can be attributed to the fact that as an individual with a disability,
Mm-hmm.
one has always have to prove myself in all walks of life, you know, especially professionally in every given transition, my capabilities have been questioned solely on the account of my limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And that just has provoked me to raise my bars even more.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what makes it so difficult.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hanging on to those raised bars,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
even at the risk of, just having a fall,
Mm-hmm.
just hanging on to them um, to ensure that the mainstream somehow accepts you recognizes you for who you are,
Mm.
and doesn't treat you as an individual with a disability, someone different, someone who won't be able to do
Mm.
the same
Some, yeah, that has been hurtful. Yes, Urvi.
thing. Yep.
Someone won't be able to do, and so there is this. That is why, like, the perfection has walked in. That I have to prove myself in a grand way everywhere.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess that's one of the crucial shaping factors. Not that I don't have the inner drive to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
That's another. I mean, that goes hand in hand with it. I won't deny that.
Mm-hmm.
And this perfection has kind of helped me a lot
Mm-hmm.
in being where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also being counterproductive in going ahead.
Mm-hmm. Right. So what else happened in the visualization, Urvi? Like, I heard the word tug of war, right?
Mm,
So there's a tug of war between the confidence and the idea that you have and the no or don't, or the whole
right.
effort of having to prove yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens if you witness all of it as part of you? Because you only said that it has brought me where I am, right? This whole streak of wanting to do the perfect thing has made you what you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what happens if you witness them?
Mm. So I think it just on one hand it helps me explore new fields as I'm just doing with coaching. That it just helps me jump into something completely new. It
Mm-hmm.
supports my adventure instincts
Mm-hmm.
and my exploration and creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, since I said a tug of war, it just pulls me back, saying that, hey, but would you be able to, be perfect? Would you be able to reach those standards so many field experts have laid for you before you were ready?
Mm-hmm.
Or would you be able to, even more importantly, would you be able to create something of your own that matches those standards or even outweighs them at times?
And that is a culmination of lots and lots of things that you had to hear and witness, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's bring in another small genie. Yeah? If you had to look at Urvi, okay, there's a wise Urvi also sitting there. All right.
Right.
Yeah. What would she say to you now that she's witnessed all of this today?
Yeah, I think it will be about life being a journey and living it to the greatest extent
Mm-hmm.
instead of getting caught up in the whole perfectionist mode,
Yeah.
and just putting my ideas and concepts and experiments out there
Hmm.
and see what happens.
All right. So right now, would you be able to experiment with the tool that you're saying that I want to give up the perfectionist?
Hmm.
Would you be open to a small exercise again?
Right.
Not a guided visual image.
Right.
I'm putting it out to you. Would it be okay with you?
Yes, of course.
All right. So let's say you have a dial.
Hmm.
All right, and you could fit it to all the doors.
Hmm.
All right, and if you look at the perfection doll, it has helped you in your life, right? But at the same
Hmm.
time, the same voice sometimes stops you, right?
Right.
So it's all about dialing. Like if we have air conditioner in our house,
Hmm.
sometimes like we need a lot more cold. Sometimes we don't need it to be that cold. So if you were to think of your perfection or your procrastination or this voice that says, "Would you be able to do it, Urvi?" All right. And if you were to ask this dial to kind of tone it to the exact level where you need in that moment, what would happen? Let's take one idea that you have, all right, that you have been toying with right now, like networking you started with. So you're toying with one idea.
Right.
Take this idea, all right? Look at all these voices. We don't discard any. We only dial them up and down and we see, are you useful to me in this moment? We're going to answer just this one question. Okay, I
Mm,
need to set you at this tone right now. You
right.
can caution me, but you cannot, hold me back. Okay, so if procrastination comes in, you listen to it and you say, are you useful to me right now? All right. Like if I have to give you
Mm,
a little bit of self disclosure, it was almost just a week before we met, right? I didn't spend any time wasting. I simply told you, only I'm doing this. Would you be open to doing this? All right.
right.
What is the risk I ran? The risk I ran was,
I would have said no.
yes, you would have said no. Okay. What other risk I would have ran?
Um, of putting yourself out there as a coach.
Hmm. Okay. And as a result, supposing I stop doing this show, all right, in the long run, when I look back, what would happen to me?
Um, Being in your own void.
Hmm. Correct. So now take one idea that you have, Urvi, a ball that you have been playing with. Talk to
Mm,
all the voices that are around you. And then, what is an assignment you would want to give yourself? Go play with it.
I think I would like to reach out to a few individuals for a podcast and to just see where the idea gets me.
Okay, all right. And as you think of this, what is a perfection saying to you?
Oh, that it has to be podcast that fulfills all the standards that are set by the previous field experts or the current ones who are doing that,
Hmm.
and that it has to be authentic,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to add value to not just my life or the speakers who are doing it, but to also listeners and coaches who will be practicing.
Right.
So
Amazing.
basically, the kind of impact that it has,
Hmm. So that
that
is,
matters.
yeah, that is a perfection voice. How useful is everything that it told you? Which part you can witness, which part like kind of you can let it go a bit.
I would say 99% was useful. Only that tiny bit, that 1%, could come in the way, because, again, the questions that I designed was the plan that I may draw up for the podcast may not fit into the kind of expectations that I set for myself and or uh, the concerned guest speakers whom I might approach.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what would you want to do then?
As we're just talking about this, I suddenly um, have a glass of wine in front of me, and I can actually smell that fresh white wine
Oh,
and all the strawberries and cherries that go in with it. And that is what is actually giving me strength. That aroma
mm-hmm.
suddenly is giving me the strength to just put it out there in the world.
Okay. Ah, all right. Just one last bit of this exercise.
Right.
Procrastination is coming now.
Mm-hmm.
Perfection we dealt with. Procrastination is coming. Oh, we'll do it tomorrow, not right now, later on.
Mm,
How
right.
would you witness that?
I think that's a tricky part,
Mm-hmm.
but I would at least write down a couple of words, if not complete set of paragraphs or ideas or questions. But at least start with a few words and then building upon them probably the next day.
Hmm. Okay. All right. So, with all of this, Urvi, what assignment would you like to give yourself?
So I think what the goal that I would like to set for myself would be actually coming up with a podcast idea, at least
Hmm.
a rough idea in next 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and having identified three potential speakers whom I could possibly reach out to and invite to discuss this idea, to go down this lane, to just walk down this lane with me and see whether it works for them.
All right. Wow. So in the next 2 weeks, you are saying that you will be coming up with ideas and you'll key down three speakers.
Absolutely.
All right. So as you say this, how are you feeling?
Liberated,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
slightly with a slight tinge of responsibility, you
Responsibility.
know, that daunting bit that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Whether again that same, yeah, but mostly it's relief. It's liberating to have actually reflected so deeply into this.
Mm. Right. You went deep. What have you come up with? What stood out for you today?
That I have to let go of the fear of rejection, the fear
Mm-hmm.
of not being enough,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and to torment myself. Let go of that torment that I put myself through by
Mm-hmm.
raising the bars like too high at times.
Okay. So we started out with your concern around networking. Where are you right now with that?
So I think this has really helped me uncover some stuff, um, as far as networking is concerned. So I would say that I feel more open to approaching individuals or organizations now,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm ready to put my ideas out there in the world.
Okay. You're ready to put your ideas into the world. Wow, that's music to
Mhm.
my ears, I would say. Yes, because yeah.
So I think that will be the first step. That's where I stand currently, that I see that hesitance melting down,
Mhm.
um, you know, to greatest extent that I could actually imagine.
Okay.
And I
But
could see it happening differently. Obviously, those voices are gonna raise their heads again. I'm not saying it's gonna stop
mhm.
completely,
Hmm.
but now it's different. I can pursue it differently, and I can feel the effects already rippling throughout my body, and as I think about it.
Okay. So where in your body do you feel that?
Mostly it's in the gut, in the stomach. I can
Yeah.
feel it loosening up, and I can feel my head relaxing.
Okay. Yeah.
A tight knot around the forehead.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can feel my face relax
Okay.
as I speak.
All right. So what will you take with you and what will stay with you when you kind of think of this session now with you?
Oh, that was really empowering. So every time now that I'm gonna think of perfection and procrastination, they would always have these forums, and that would make the process so more tangible for me and therefore easier to overcome. So thank
Okay.
you so much for that one.
All right. So is there anything you want to say to feel complete before we conclude the session?
Um, well, I would just say that I'll put this as a small tattoo as a reminder in my room, possibly below the coffee poster, that every idea does not have to be a grand success.
Okay. the idea. Doesn't have to be a grand success. All right.
It's valuable. It's there as an entity. It's there for itself, but it doesn't have to be a grand success.
All right. All right. Anything else that comes up for you?
Well, I think most important part for me is that I can go let go of my. I mean, I have at least identified my procrastination part, and I have now the tools to overcome it.
Okay. So I thank you, Urvi, for making me witness you. I am so honored that you at least let me into your world. Yes.
Thank you so much, Sonal. That was really a powerful session, and it uncovered things for me that yeah, I've not been able to do in my adult life. So I'm really grateful to you for this. Thank you so much. You
Thank
just
you.
helped me reunite with my strengths again and reflect from a different lens altogether. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Urvi. So I'm closing our session. I do hope to see you again. Hopefully, this time you will be coaching me.
Mhm.
Yes. So let's see how
Let's
that
hope for
works
that.
out.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. Have a
Thank you
wonderful
so much for
evening.
being